Oh, that groove is sick! Today we have a real treat for all you guitar aficionados out there. Heavyocity's latest creation, Damage Guitars, and the Rock Grooves expansion. Damage Guitars is a package of heavy metal riffs, licks and effects in 3 tunings, the matching bass lines, playable clean guitars, and ambient textures. There's no playable heavy guitars though. Instead, Damage Guitars is a fat toolkit where you build and combine your grooves from a modular sandbox of guitar elements. Damage Rock Grooves then complements Damage Guitars riffs and bass lines with energetic drum loops that are perfectly tailored to exactly those riffs. With Damage Guitars you get 4 contact patches, and it runs in the free contact player by the way. Damage Guitars in D, A and F sharp tunings, and playable guitar textures. Now, when you load each of the 3 Damage Guitar patches, you get a combination of heavy guitar riffs, matching bass riffs that you can very nicely play in octaves for a super fat sound, and some guitar effects on top. But this is not all, by far not all. Open the Contact Preset dropdown or click here to load all sorts of riff banks, chunks, bits and pieces that you can use to build your own rhythm guitars and bass grooves. This makes Damage Guitars much more flexible than just a phrase-based collection of riffs. There are also atmospheric clean guitar ambiences and more sound designy textures perfect for cinematic underscoring. The included metal riffs are tight, powerful, and precise. And the playable guitars can be enjoyed right out of the box thanks to their gorgeous tone and processing. By the way, I have a Discord community called Become a Pro Composer. Exchange feedback on your music, join our very own composing community games Melody Mayhem and Song Scramble, and win great sample library prizes in our giveaways. Link is in the description, I'll be waiting for you. Inside Damage Guitars, you load instruments into 3 slots. Each one is 1 octave on the MIDI keyboard. With the right key switches on the left, you change the key. You can load, for example, heavy guitar riffs into slot 1, the matching heavy bass riffs in slot 2, and some guitar effects in slot 3. But you can also insert 3 types of guitar riffs, or a clean guitar, clean effects, and a guitar transition. There are 117 presets to help us get started. Just like with Heavyocity's wonderful cinematic mosaic instruments, Damage Guitars has 6 macro effects that you can sequence over time. These macro-sequent envelopes, EQs, filters, drives, gate, and space effects add motion and life to the sample performances. In the options window, you fine-tune each instrument's slot settings, and for example you can have one slot only play at low velocities and the others join at high velocities. Lots of combinations here. You also can adjust the intensity of your MIDI controller's pitch bend wheel and activate and deactivate the sustain pedal and those red tuning key switches for each slot individually. In the master effects, you slap processing like filter, distortion, chorus, delay and reverb effects to your guitars. The punish and twist knobs are particularly handy for fast, instant gratification. feels very satisfying to have the bass riffs match the guitars, laid out with the corresponding keys. For example, play an E in the low octave, and then an E an octave above, and enjoy the fatness of a heavy guitar and bass combination blasting the matching riff. Add the Rock Grooves expansion if you have it, and you got the entire band ready at your fingertips. The sound of Damage Guitars and the Rock Grooves drums is tight and fat, and can be further ramped up with the master effects, the punish knob, and the time-sensitive macro sequences. The heavy part of Damage Guitars is limited by its modular nature. While there are hard-hitting riffs for guitars and basses that work together perfectly, and transitions, chunks, and effects to add custom details on top of those, you won't use Damage Guitars to record your version of a John Petrucci, Herman Lee, or Sinister Gates solo. Damage Guitars isn't meant for that. It shines if you think about it as a modular playground when you don't need it to specifically express exactly that rhythm or melody that you have in your head to the note. Composers can combine different guitar bits and chunks together to craft a more custom sound, and I would compare this to using damaged loops. Yes, you can make it easy for yourself and just play one riff for a kick-ass sound, but you risk that the same riff will be used in a production by another composer. I'm pretty sure Heavyocity is aware of this and therefore adds these short rhythmic bits and chunks that you can combine. This adds a lot of great possibilities to get more music out of the library. The advantage of this modular approach is that you can get great sounding results fast with little programming. Both Damage Guitars and the drums in Damage Rock Grooves are tight enough that you can easily double them with orchestral instruments or percussive sound design. For example, for a hybrid electronic metal style of the sorts of Mick Gordon, or you can use them standalone. You can check out Damage Guitars and the Rock Grooves drum expansion on Heavyocity's website. I think they're pretty sick. I wrote a little demo with Heavyocity Damage Guitars, the Rock Grooves drums, and some trailer effects and orchestral elements. Happy composing! Join the Become a Pro Composer Discord community to learn and grow as a composer in a safe and fun environment, and I will see you soon.